part of the charm of coffee should I think should be a little bit of the stark bitterness, right? Like in the morning you have that delicious smell and then it's like it wakes you up a little bit, you know? It's not meant to be like a smoothie every time you drink it. I feel like people are getting a little bit, and this is why, you know, everyone's fat now. It's because everyone's like where our threshold for what the average like Elizabethan peasant would have, well, probably not Elizabethan. I have to go a little farther back than that. The average like Victorian, you know, peasant child would have had like one sweet candy in their entire life, and they would have like teared up when tasting it. And nowadays, it would taste like dirt to us, you know. But, you know, now we can get sugar absolutely everywhere, and it's like, oh yeah, that shit ain't even sweet. Unless, like, okay, have you ever had one of those insufferably healthy family members who's like, "What do you mean, dessert? Dessert? You want chocolate for dessert? But we just had melon. We just had a slice of melon. Isn't that sweet enough?" And you're like, "What the f are you talking about, you stupid piece of shit? What are you talking about? A melon slice?" But it's like to them that's sweet, you know? Why are they German them out? Well, they're skinnier than we are, right? Melon is dessert. I mean, fruit is like sugary, yeah, just not added sugar, you know? People forget that milk is sweet. It's dependent on the milk, right? When I think of milk as savory. I mean, you can make milk sweet, right? Pretty sure our obesity rate is as bad as America's. My conception of a German person is skinnier. Also, look, okay, I haven't walked around like Munich or whatever, but I went to Barcelona and everyone there was skinny. Everyone there was skinny except for the foreigners and like the fat older Mediterranean guys, but fat in the Mediterranean is not fat in America, okay? Fat in America is like mobility scooter, you know, get a TLC show if you're enough of a messy bitch kind of fat. You know, you've got to be loaded the fuck up. Whereas fat Mediterranean guys, you're just 5'2" and you're just kind of squat and you've got a belly and you're wearing like a camp collar shirt and you play chess all day in the park. The foreigners in Barcelona is mostly German. Yeah. I'm actually annoyed by like how everything has chocolate in it. Do you ever worry a little bit about how you're running out of like you're losing the ability to appreciate any flavors other than artificially sweetened stuff because basically everything tasty has added sugars? And it's like, oh shit, I'm not one of those people who thinks that food was better in the past, but it's objectively the case that there are a lot of basic foods that you used to get that would have been like by default homemade, and they would have been a lot healthier, and they probably would have been tastier too because you would have gotten them freshly sourced. But nowadays, if you want to get the quick and easy version of that, it's like, oh yeah, you know, the preservatives kind of dulled the natural richness of the flavor, but we added corn syrup to make it like taste sweet to your fat, stupid, idiot fat tongue, you know? The real problem is high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, literally, man. Literally. This is why I hate the ultra processed food thing, where it's like, dude, everything's ultra processed. Just check the added sugars. Literally just check the added sugars. High fructose corn syrup is that's it. That's literally the it's like what nefarious secret factors have led to the obesity epidemic. It's high fructose corn syrup. It's literally just like at least 90% is that. It would be added sugars anyway. High fructose corn syrup is just like one iteration of the added sugars. It could be actual sugar, but it doesn't really matter, you know. Shouldn't there be a law against adding high fructose corn syrup in everything? That sounds like communism. I'm European. I swear to God, American candy makes me feel so much worse. It has to be the high fructose corn syrup, right? Yeah, in a lot of cases, yeah. If you go abroad or you try foreign candy and it sometimes you get like a richer flavor from it. Sometimes that literally is, yeah. Like if you're having like I don't know which candy specifically, but yeah, generally speaking, sugar is a lot more expensive than high fructose corn syrup, and our bread is like cake. Oh, you would have been so proud of me the other day. I was like, I'm hungry, so I had a pound of deli meat chicken slices in keto bread, and I hit my macros, baby. That shit was like 80 grams of protein and a ton of fiber for like 600 calories. It ruled. A pound? Yeah, a pound. Hope it wasn't Boar's Head Deli. It wasn't, and I checked. I got it after the panic. After the artificial panic. Oh, dying. No, Teletech, that's what I mean. High fructose corn syrup isn't like that different to regular sugar. The problem is the sugar. Like sugar gets added to everything, you know? Okay, here to me is my metric for whether or not you're cooked, okay? You need to buy a slice of whole grain bread, or I guess a loaf. You probably don't need to buy the slice, but you should have a slice from a loaf that you've bought, and you should eat it And if whole grain bread with no added sugars tastes bad to you, you might be a little bit cooked and you might need to work on that. High fructose corn syrup is illegal in a lot of countries. Again, there's nothing wrong with high fructose corn syrup specifically. It's just if they weren't doing that, it would be sugar. The only thing that's wrong with high fructose corn syrup is the fact that it's a very cheap way of adding a sweetener to everything. If they made high fructose corn syrup illegal, they would just do the same thing but with sugar, and the food would get more expensive, you know? So it needs to be added sugar. It needs to be added sugar. Seed oils too. Yeah, I don't really believe in that. Thoughts on rye bread? Rye bread. Rye bread's good. Pumpernickel is really good too. Bread doesn't taste good in general. Tell me you're cooked without telling me you're cooked. Bread doesn't taste good in general? What are you? What are you? A orangutan? You're an alien? Bleep blorp? For like 5 million years, the best food you could have was bread and cheese, and it's still true. Irish Supreme Court considers Subway bread to be closer to cake than bread. Yeah. I think we literally went over this, or maybe we didn't. But yeah, there was an Irish court that found that Subway bread isn't even legally bread because it has so much sugar in it that it should be classified as cake due to the country's VAT tax of 72 says tax-exempt bread can't have sugar, fat, and bread improver exceeding 2% the weight of the flour. In the Subway recipe, sugar makes up 10% the weight of the flour. This is how bad it's gotten to. Like, literally, you wonder, like, hey, why is everyone a fat mother... Like, I'm not trying to fat shame or whatever, but why is everyone, like... It's not a willpower thing. It's not like a, oh, you're just built worse kind of thing. It is that the companies that sell you food are literally, with a syringe, adding, like, a gallon of high fructose corn syrup to every individual item you eat, you know? Hey, you ever wonder why the motherfuckers to eat at Trader Joe's tend to be skinnier? You don't tell me you haven't seen it. You've been to Trader Joe's. You know what the people in there look like, okay? A lot of it, it's not willpower. It's not because they do yoga or Pilates or whatever. It's literally just because the food at Trader Joe's generally doesn't have as much added sugar as the food that you would get at a regular grocery store. That's literally, like, that's the big line. That's literally it. If you, the big division is just, like, have they pumped your food full of bullshit to kill you? Opinion on GMO foods? I'm fine with GMO. Some people say bullshit like, oh, Western degeneracy has made everyone gluttonous and since. Do you have any idea how much, like, a middle ages peasant would eat if they were transported to the real world? Oh, hello, like Carl of Edwington, you know? I know that all you've gotten to have is rabbit stock and stale bread for the past 8 months. Congratulations, welcome to America, where the average American spends like 4% of their income on food, and you have unlimited food, and there's basically never any shortages, and all of it is incredibly rich compared to what you had. Good luck, you know? Holy shit. They would be dead, man. They would pop. They would turn into the Blueberry Kid from Willy Wonka's. Death for Blueberry Boy. 4% of income. That's the last study I was familiar with. It's probably gone up because of the Biden economy. Anyway, yeah, the obesity epidemic is literally just like food scientists making your food have more sugar in it. Just try to find food that doesn't have added sugar. I say as I'm about to have like a sweet latte. Shut up. As a food science major, that's offensive. It's literally true. I believe this about a lot of fields, but I reject the idea that things are complicated. And a lot of the times they really aren't. Like, sometimes they are, but sometimes it's like, you look in a field, like, if you look at news, media, headlines, what's causing the American obesity epidemic? Everyone's got opinions. It's a really simple answer, you know? It's really, really, really simple. It's really simple. But, you know, the sugar industry, they buy out the media, they buy out the politicians, so it's like, oh, let's have a debate about it. Let's falsify a bunch of studies saying that actually it's fat that's making people fat, which you'd think would be the case, but no. How bad is Canadian food compared to America? Exactly the same. Canada is literally just, like, worse, more pretentious America, and you have French people. I'm sorry. And healthcare? That's true. In Canada, they have healthcare. If you stub your toe and go to a doctor's clinic, after you wait for 6 hours, a doctor will tell you that if you want, they can kill you. Vosh, you need to look into seed oils. I don't really care. As a general rule, if there's any information that seems to be mostly cared about by, like, the weird alt-right, you know, tradcon, this is why the Jews want us to eat seed oil types, I just don't really care. I need that shit to be presented to me in a format that doesn't immediately make me discount what you're saying. Bit late saying this because I was so behind, but it's so strange hearing you talk positively about keto bread. After every other mention, you said keto was being negative about. The keto diet is insane. literally like, I'm gonna get healthy, I can eat as much bacon as I want, but not an apple. No, the keto diet's insane. But like individual items that are like made to have less added sugars and more fiber, that's fine. Yeah. But like keto is overdoing it. You have a little bit of truth, which is that we're eating too much sugar, and then they run to the ballpark with it. They're like, oh, if you know, actually we should eat nothing but raw boar flank every day. It's like, what? Just dial down the amount of added sugars. Why is the keto diet bad? Because it's just look up the keto diet and ask yourself if this is like a rational diet made by rational people. It's the people who promote keto are usually the same like fad diet grifters. They know you're going to spend a bunch of money on correct keto food, which costs way more than regular food, or like buy their courses or supplemental materials, and then you're going to drop out of it 6 weeks in because, as it turns out, you're meant to eat carbs. You're meant to eat carbs. You're supposed to. The body wants carbs, just not as much of them as we have right now. Then why have the keto bread? Do you want me to, like, chew your food for you? Because the individual item of the keto bread had less added sugars and more fiber, and it tasted pretty good. Do you think there's a difference between a single item of food that's been keyed in a certain way as opposed to, like, an entire diet? Like, are you also eating keto if you have bacon? Because people who eat keto like to have bacon, but not apples? Like, you're being ridiculous, okay? Think. Use your head. Use your head. I can't do all the work for you, man. You're just asking me shit. Short bus students at the back of the class raising their hands to ask me something. We covered that in chapter 3 and 4. And you're like, oh, well, why didn't they? You're like those people on Twitter who are like, you know what they never taught us about? You know what the system never taught us about in high school? They never taught us about the Tulsa race riots. Oh, really? Maybe you were smoking weed in the bathroom that day. Because I learned about it in high school. Navash, you're getting baited. I can't believe that I got baited into like an entertaining rant to an audience that enjoys it when I go off on people. You're right. I got baited. I've been doing it for 5 years and I'm still falling for it. I keep accidentally slipping into opportunities to show character and to be engaging. You're right. My apologies. I really should learn. I should just read Wikipedia articles on stream. Vosh, what's wrong with smoking weed in the bathroom? Skelly Communist, judging from some of the posts that you've made in chat before, I'm going to say that at your point, at the point you're along, like down the road, probably nothing. The damage is already done. Vosh fallen for the old making content ploy. That idiot. Okay, we had the sugary latte, but this is just drip coffee black. Yep, that is black coffee. I'm not a huge black coffee enjoyer. I want like a little bit of creamer, not too much, like maybe a teaspoon. But I'm trying to appreciate black coffee so I have a better palate to identify the quality of the French press. Black coffee is the only coffee you are weak. Yeah. Who's a good roaster in Seattle? I don't know. There's a lot of them. Most important thing is having a good burr grinder. I got a good burr hand grinder. Why would you ever not get a hand grinder? It takes like literally 15 seconds of doing this and it's a lot quieter. Like this, you know? Like it's not, I mean, maybe if you're making it for a ton of people, but if you're just making it yourself, I feel like as an ex-barista, I want to judge your taste. What coffee do you usually order at a cafe? I like Turkish coffee. I like lattes. I like adding cinnamon. I really like, what do they call it? Like they got add like cardamom. It's like a yellow coffee. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like what do they call it? Turmeric. Yeah, the one they add turmeric to. Yeah, they call it like golden milk or Turkish milk or something. It's coffee, but they add a bunch of spices to it. I like spiced coffees, but I mean spiced, not like super sugary. I want there to be like a, you know, like a, one thing I really like that I had a lot of in Barcelona, those like Catalan coffee shops, they with the X instead of the CH. Did you know that in Catalan, which is its own language, they speak Catalan in Barcelona, in northeastern Spain, not Spanish. And they use X's instead of CH. So chocolate is zocolat, like chocolate. It's like an X, you know? It's pretty cool. I thought it was a dialect. I mean, dialect language, who knows the difference? Probably a linguist, which I am not. Opinion on other types of coffee like cappuccino and mocha. It's all good. It's all good, yeah. I don't like cold coffee. Anything cold, I don't do. Coffee should be hot. And I don't like it to be a f***ing smoothie or whatever, you know? Maximum 200 calories, and that's what I'm like. That's when I've been a good boy. Thoughts on energy drinks? I'm hoping if I get good with the French press, I can cut this out. But you know, I do love my caffeine. That's just one of the boxes. Those are so gross. 5 Hour Energy isn't an energy drink. That's a different thing. Well, if that's the case, then I don't have energy drinks. I don't have energy drinks then. You ever drink Red Bull or Monster? I have never had a sip of Red Bull, Monster Energy, or anything comparable. Do you just go to non-coffee chain places like Ditch Dunkin' and Starbucks and go to some other coffee shop? Well, thankfully for me, I'm in Seattle. Seattle has like an insane number of coffee shops that are pretty good. It's Seattle. It's like the coffee place. It's where Starbucks started, but I don't go to Starbucks here. You know, there's a lot of coffee shops here. Do you lack curiosity? What does that mean? What does that mean? What do you mean? What do you want from me? What do you people want from me?